Greetings, people of Earth. Welcome back. My name is Jax, and you join me on a quiet morning. And today's video is all about and inspired by a comment that my dad made yesterday. We were on the phone, and he was saying, we were talking about something or other, and he said, well, it's a controlled risk, so I'm okay with it. That got me thinking of the idea of a controlled risk, hence the title of this video and the subject of it as well. So, first of all, what is a controlled risk? A controlled risk is exactly what it sounds like. It is a risk, so something that is a little bit, you're not sure if it's going to go well or not, but it's happening in a controlled situation, or it's happening in some aspect of safety, and you've planned for it, you've done your due diligence, there is structures in place, it's controlled. And what a neat concept, what a cool idea. Thanks, Dad. But anyway, basically, I'm a huge proponent that in your life, you do have to take risks. You have to be willing to put your foot out there and, see what happens, see if it holds your weight. If you put your foot out on the ice, hopefully it holds your weight and you don't fall through the ice. So you're taking a risk. I think certain risks are very important. We have to risk different things in our life in order to reach new territory, achieve different goals, things like that. And so it is vital to do risky things in such a way that allows you to grow. For example, if you are in a really annoying job, you don't like the job you're in currently, and it's very frustrating, it's annoying, it bugs you, you have real problems with it, you have to risk losing that job in order to find a new one. That job might be absolutely horrible, but it's providing you stability, it's providing you support, it's helping you pay the bills, it's helping you to create hopefully a savings account and all these other things. So you have to risk losing that and the good sides of it in order to find something that you truly love, or that works better for you, or maybe it just works better scheduling wise. It doesn't have to be this immense change and huge risk, but you do have to be willing to make that risk and make that change and, reach for new horizons. There's going to be a lot of like figures of speech, and they're all sort of like uplifting, or, you got to put your foot out there, take the risk. And it isn't until you can do that you can really feel like you've lived a really good life. I think a lot of people, they always say you never regret the things you did do. You usually regret, like this is like 80 years from now, you usually regret the things you didn't do. So maybe there was a really cool concert and, you were like, well, I need the sleep. I can't risk it because I've got an exam, next week, or I've got an exam tomorrow or whatever. I can't go. You might regret that because you didn't take that risk and go to that concert with your friends. On the other side, you might not. Who knows? It's kind of a toss-up. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. I'm just here to tell you about controlled risks. So, apologies. I'm still getting over this cold. A controlled risk. So we talked about risks. You've got to be willing to take a few of them and that kind of thing. And risks help create innovation. They help you create new ideas. They do all kinds of really important things. However, a controlled risk is a risk where maybe you have a backup plan if the thing doesn't happen or it doesn't work out the way you wanted to. Maybe the risk has a very high reward and it's a low risk. Maybe if you pull this off, you end up with something that's really, really awesome and it's really productive and it's helpful. And the downside is like nothing. It's like, oh, well, whatever. For example, I personally think that social media is a high reward, low risk thing because I make videos, I make content, I talk to people, I love doing what I do, I put myself out there, which, there's always a risk associated with all of this stuff. Who knows, maybe 20 years from now, this comes back to bite me in the butt. Maybe 20 years from now, everybody has artificial intelligence, so it doesn't even matter. So it's all irrelevant anyway. But I view social media as a very low risk. I think I like to connect with people. I like to talk to people. I like to engage and do these things. And the the reward is quite high. I get to do things that I love and create a community of people and, put my voice out there. So like lots of really good stuff. And what are the risks? Well, the risks, there's a lot of crazy people out there, which, I'm willing to take that risk. And, maybe sometimes I'll say something that gets a little bit of backlash or people will disagree with. Maybe I'll have comments like, criticizing the way I look or the way I talk or the way I act. But to me, those risks are quite negligible, hopefully. Hopefully they still are. Knock on wood. I don't want to jinx anything. But I find the risks to me doing social media and sort of being able to connect with everybody, I find those risks very negligible or small. I don't want to say that they're non-existent because they exist, but the reward for me is much better. I enjoy communicating. I love to talk to people. I like to work through issues and problems that people have and, just have fun. And so for me, this is very much a controlled risk because I risk putting my thoughts out there and the reward is that we can have a cool discussion about them and we can talk about them. So that is an example of a controlled risk. Another one could be something like skydiving, hopefully if you go skydiving, you choose to go with people who are professionals, who have good equipment, who understand weather conditions and the area that they are going to be jumping out of. And with any luck, it is controlled. It's still quite spontaneous and still thrilling and exciting. I hope to go one day. I haven't gone yet. However, it's a risk, stuff happens, problems arise. There's all kinds of issues that can occur. And so it is an example of a controlled risk because very few people actually end up hurt when they go skydiving, yet the risk is there, The same thing kind of goes for flying in a plane, traveling to see family or friends, getting in a car. That is a type of controlled risk. A lot of people are injured in cars every single year statistically, and yet we have that as our main mode of transportation, especially like where I live. Getting in a train, getting in any of these vehicles and planes, trains, automobiles, and boats and all this stuff. It's a controlled risk. You're taking the risk to go do something, and hopefully the payoff is worth it. So life is full of these little risks and these curious little occurrences and things like that. Apologies again. I've just finished watching this movie called Woman in the Window. It's with Amy Adams, and it is a very good movie. I will not spoil the plot a lot, but I will spoil a little bit. So if you want to go watch Woman in the Window, go ahead. I think it's on Netflix. At least it is in Canada. Great, great movie. Really enjoy it. So I'm going to spoil a little bit now. So Amy Adams' character has agoraphobia. So she's afraid to leave the house. She's afraid to risk that. And she witnesses something through her window across the street into the next house. She witnesses something that she can't keep quiet about. She can't just, forget about. And so she has to then be willing to take some risks in order to get this thing resolved, essentially. That's the best way I can say it without solving it or without talking about it exactly. So that kind of risk reward situation, like risks are essential. Like I don't think that's a very controversial opinion. I don't think many people would disagree with the idea that you take a risk and they're kind of essential for human growth and for development and for just the plot line of your story, of your life. Risks are needed. But if you can find risks that are controlled and exciting and productive, then do them, like if you weigh it in your head and you say, yeah, I think it's worth it. then you have all the agency you need in order to go and fulfill those things. And that's exciting because risks create innovation, and innovation creates a beautiful life. So, before I start coughing up a storm, please let me know your thoughts in your comments and what you think about controlled risks and whether you think they're good or appropriate. Give me some examples of controlled risks. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on what you think is a good example of a controlled risk. And thank you guys thank you so much for watching. Gosh, I can't talk now. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, guys, I will talk to you guys tomorrow.